Hi, this is Kat Chancellor with Stamp Art Connection and StampArtConnection.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I want to show you a really neat card called the WIPER card. And here it is. We're going to make this card. You simply pull it apart, and this little flap comes up right there to show you either a sentiment or a little a message. I made this card using the new Perfect Pets bundle, but the bundle I want to feature for our project today is the wonderful bundle from the Well Done bundle. And here you can see, here is the stamp set. And the lovely punch that comes with it, this beautiful DSP to make this wonderful little card. And you can see how I've used acetate as kind of my little wiper for my WIPER card that's supposed to kind of evoke the whale spout. So I have a pattern for you, and I'm going to walk through all the steps. I've made several of these cards. Here's this one, and this is the one that we're going to make today, where you can add a sentiment on the side and then kind of extend some of the DSP and add some of the really pretty ribbon that I've used here to kind of look like a wave, and then some of the really nice embellishments that go with this particular bundle. Okay, so let's get started. You're going to need the really pretty designer series paper that comes with this bundle. You're going to need the stamp set and the punch, and you're going to need two pieces. Well, actually, it's going to start out with just a one piece of 10.5 or 11 by 8.5 cardstock, and we're going to cut this down, and here is our pattern. So our front and our back is going to go like this. So we're going to need two of these pieces, and this is cut 4 1/4 by a total of 4 1/4 by 5 2/4, or it's 4 1/4 by 8.5 is the length of your entire piece. We're then going to score it at two places here. We're going to score it at 1.5 and 1.5. We're going to take the same thing with the second piece of cardstock, cut at the same dimensions, and we're going to score those as well. So here is my cardstock that I just basically took a plain piece of cardstock paper, cut it at 4 1/4, and now we're going to go ahead and cut it down. So I'm going to bring in my cutter, and I want to cut this down to 8 to 8.5. So I'm going to simply put this in here, and there is 8.5, and I'm going to cut, and then I'm going to cut this at 8.5. So there are our first two pieces of cardstock. Now I want to bring in my scoreboard, because I'm going to take my scoreboard and I'm going to cut, or rather I'm going to score my pieces here at 1.5 by 1.5 and 3 inches. I'm going to take my other piece of cardstock and I'm going to do the same thing, 1.5 and 3 inches. And this is going to create our base card. Now there's some other pieces I'm going to need. I'm going to need some DSP, and I'm going to need a little piece of cardstock that I could probably take from this piece right here. This little piece of cardstock is going to serve as our little flap for our message. So I think I'd rather use a piece of either white DSP, or I want to use a piece of another color. So I'm just going to grab a piece of white DSP, and this little piece here is cut at 1.5 by 3 3/4. So I'm going to use my little mini trimmer. So it's 3 3/4 and 1.5. And let me make sure this is 3 1/4. There it is. That's 3 1/4 right there. Okay, so now that's 3 1/4. Let's see what this is. It's actually 3 1/4, not 3 3/4. There. So let me change this right here so I don't get confused. This is 3 1/4. So this is 3 2/5, not 3 7/5. Okay? So we have this piece cut right here. Okay. Now, this is going to be scored at, we're going to measure 1.5 to this point here where we're going to put a little score mark. I'm going to bring in my score, my scoreboard. So I want to score this at 1.5. And then I'm going to take this corner and the corner that I scored right there. You can see that right there, and I'm going to draw that line because now that is going to fold perfectly to make a triangle. So I've made a triangle out of that piece, and that's 1.5. This is 3 1/4, 1.5, and then I scored diagonally so I can fold this in half. So this is the piece that we're going to use to put in our card with our sentiment that's part of the WIPER card. So let's go ahead and put this aside for now. I'm also going to need a piece of Whisper White, and I'm going to take this piece here, and this is 4 by 1 1/4. So I'm going to cut this 1 1/4, and this is going to go along one of our sides. So I'm going to put this one aside. Then the other piece we're going to need is our DSP. Well, I want to, if this is going to be the front, and I have to lay out our pattern here because it's very important to know which direction. So let me fold these. Let me fold these folds here. We're going to fold these so you can kind of see how this is going to go together. So it's going to kind of go together like this, and you're going to open it like that. Okay, now I'm upside down, so if you were right side up, this is how you would be looking at the card, and then this is how you would be opening it. So this is the front of the card here, and I'm going to get my wonderful bone folder, and I'm going to make sure that my edges are nicely creased. So this is the front, and this is the back, like this. Okay, so I'm going to look at the front, and for the front of my card, and here's my pattern, this is important, for the front of my card, this is where I'm going to have this piece of cardstock, which is going to go right here, and then we're going to have a piece of DSP. We're going to have the front, and we're going to have a layered piece And we're going to layer this 5 1/4 by 4. So that's going to be the layered piece. And then we're going to take a piece of cardstock, and I'm going to use this piece right here, and we're going to cut this piece of DSP 5 by 3 3/4. So let's go ahead and cut this using my mini cutter. 5 by 3 3/4. And let's see, I think this is, yeah, this is 5. So I'm going to use my other cutter here so I can make sure that I get, so that you can see it. So here is 5 here. And I'm going to save this little piece here because this little piece is going to go on the side of our card. And then this is going to be 3 3/4 right there. And we're going to put this aside. I don't need that piece there. Okay, so there is the front of our card. So let's go ahead and bring back our front right here. We're going to bring back our front because this is how we're going to put the front together. The front is going to go like this, and then this piece of cardstock is going to go right there, and we are going to cut a piece. We're going to cut the same size right here. So I'm going to take a piece of DSP here, and I'm going to cut it so that it will frame our DSP. Let me get my little cutter. And this is going to be 4 by 1 1/4. So there's 1 1/4. Okay, so I've cut this piece is the piece that's going to go right there, and then this piece that I've just cut is going to be the piece that we're going to mount there on this side of our card. Now this was 1 1/2 by, or 1 1/4 by 4 by 1 1/4. So this is going to be 3 3/4. So let's get this 3 3/4 right there. Okay, so there you go. That's perfect. Now I'm going to just put this aside here, and I want to mount this with glue so that I don't forget where this, because I've already measured it. I want to just go ahead and assemble this piece. Then I'm going to set it aside for when we're going to put it on our card. Okay, so there's that piece. The next piece we're going to put on is we're just simply going to put on our DSP onto our white cardstock. I love this all-purpose glue. So we're going to put this on our white cardstock like that. And that is going to be the front of our card. We're going to have these two pieces like that. Now let's go ahead and embellish this card. And the way we're going to embellish it is we're going to go ahead and I believe I have a little piece of black cardstock already embossed with a little sentiment here. And now I want to cut my whale. Now I'm going to use my my punch, and I'm going to make my whale out of Mystic Moonlight. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to cut my pieces. And I'm also going to cut some pieces out of white cardstock. And it's predominantly this right there. And I'm going to cut some of the, I'm going to cut some of the whales. I hope I didn't lose that, but I'm going to need, I have a white and a white, and these are all the little pieces that kind of show the water here and here. These are the fins. I want this one over here because this is water. And here's my whale, and I'm going to take this white piece, and this white piece is going to go glued right there on top of my whale, and I'm just going to take a piece. Now my whale is going to go right about there. You can see that's how my whale is going to go. So I'm going to take my whale, I'm going to go ahead and very carefully just put some glue along the back of my white piece. And let me just go ahead and move in so you can kind of see what I'm doing. And I'm going to lay that white piece right there on my whale. So there's the bottom of our whale. Now for our little fin, the fin is this piece right here. So you kind of want the piece that kind of, oh, I hope I didn't lose it. You kind of want the piece that hooks down is going to be the piece that lines up with your fin on the piece that you cut. Now I'm just going to go ahead and glue that on very carefully with just a little piece of all-purpose glue. And we're just going to, remember, that goes just like that. So there's that piece. Now instead of putting an eye, because you get these itty bitty little dots here, I'm going to use a piece of black gel pen, but I'm not going to put the eye on until after I've completed the entire card, primarily because I've already made this card several times, and if you use the gel pen too soon, what will happen is you're going to smear it. So I really don't want to do that until I finish, have totally assembled my card. Now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to take my whale, and I'm going to turn it this way just so I can kind of see it, but I know you can see it as well. I'm going to move all my little water spouts out of the way here. I want to use the stamp in my whale stamp. There's a lot of really neat figures, and I can use the little fish, these lovely little fish here, on a nice tiny little block. There they are. And I'm going to put the fish, if my whale is going in that direction, I'm going to put the fish going that direction just to kind of give it a little bit of movement. And I'm going to use the stamp off technique, excuse me. Excuse me. I'm going to use the stamp off technique so that you can see, kind of have some nice imagery. So let's go ahead and very lightly just kind of, I'm going to stamp off, stamp off, and you see how nicely they kind of fit together really nicely, and that I think that creates a really pretty background for our stamp set. I hope if there's anyone watching, if you can let me know if you can hear me. If anybody's watching. Okay, so now that I have that piece made, I'm going to take my whale, and I'm going to kind of put my whale right about here, like he's making a dive. He's diving down right there. And I want to use my dimensionals. So I'm just going to put some dimensionals on the back of my whale. Like that. And if I have a mini dimensional, which I think I do right here, I think I'd put this one right here at the tail. At the tail, which that fits perfectly right there. So we're just going to go ahead and put that there. And now I'm just going to have my whale just kind of coming down just like that. So there's the front. There's the front of my card. Now this is such easy card making when you're using this set. And now I'm going to take my sentiment here, and I'm just going to go ahead and put this right here on the bottom of my card. And oops, let me take off. It's not going to stick unless I take my backings off. And I'm going to do this right there. Okay, and I don't think I'm going to, well, I guess I could put some water spouts, but I don't think I really need to. I think I can kind of leave those alone, because I think that's enough for now. So now what I'm going to do, now remember, this is the front of the card, like this. This is how the card is going to open up. Let me show you. This is how the card is going to open up. Let me move out. The front of the card is going to open like this. This is how we have this card set up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to adhere all these pieces to the front of the card first. So let's go ahead and use our glue. And I'm going to glue this piece. Right there. I'm going to glue this piece, and I'm using my silicone mat so I can just protect my work surface from any of the glue. I want to put this right here, just as a little if you want to write something in your card. And then I'm going to glue this piece right there. Let me close this up, because now we have the front of our card. And this is just really important when you're putting this together, so you can remember kind of how the sides go. All right, so now that we have that piece, this is the back of our card. So now we can begin to assemble. We can begin to assemble our card. This is how it's going to open up. But we have right here, what we have is the piece that's going to be the pop-up piece. So before we assemble it, we're going to lay this piece over, and I'm going to show you on our pattern that on the front of the card, we're going to put this piece is going to go right there, and that's where this piece is going to go. But we have to cut, and you just take your scissors. You just take your scissors, and you're going to cut so that you make a little square right there. You're just going to cut off that triangle so that you make a square on your cardstock. So this is how it's going to go. It's going to fold in like this, okay? So you want to stamp the other side. This is how it's going to go paste. If you have a sentiment, you want to stamp it on this side. So I'm going to lay this down. We're going to grab our kit, our stamps again, and I'm just going to go ahead and use this wonderful big stamp here that says "You're kind of a big deal." And let me find my ink. I had my ink here somewhere. Oh, there it is. I have my ink. And I'm going to ink up with my Misty Moonlight, and I'm going to stamp "You're kind of a big deal" right there. So that's going to be our pop-up sentiment with our windshield card. So now we're going to take the front of our card, we're going to lay it down, and I am going to take some tear tape, and we're going to need tear tape for the rest of this project so we can assemble our card. We're going to take some tear tape, and I'm going to put the tear tape right along this seam right here. We're going to cut that. And we're going to, so you can see that our thing is going to pop up right there. So that's where I want my tear tape to adhere. And this fits exactly. And I think I'm going to trim this, because what's really important is that this piece has to fit between those two perfectly. And I think that's supposed to be 1 1/4. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to trim it a little bit. Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to make sure again that I have my corner cut out, and there you go. So I'm just trimming it to make sure that it fits, and it does. And now I'm going to take off this tear tape, like this. Okay, and it's going to go right there. Okay, so there's our wiper piece right there. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to take tear tape for my back. This is my back. I'm going to put tear tape along here. I'm going to put tear tape there and along this piece here. And then I'm going to, that's going to be the top. Then I'm going to turn this piece over, and I'm going to put my tear tape on this flap right here. Hey, thank you for joining me. Whoever's joining me, please let me know where you're from. Hopefully you can hear me and everything's working well. Okay, I'm going to put that tear tape right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and put together my card. You see how it's going to work? You pull it and the thing pulls out. So let's go ahead and take off our tear tape. I like to use an X-Acto knife. Because I feel I can get that, I can lift that piece up very easily. I'm going to take that piece, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to line these two pieces up right here, corner to corner, and there, it's adhered. Now I'm going to do the same over here. I've got my back, okay, this is my back piece. Open up my back piece, and I'm just going to remove my tear tape here on this side. Okay, so here's my back piece, And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to fold this right over my back piece. Now we're going to open this up, and there's your card. Look at that. There's your windshield card. So that will go down, open it up, and then it'll fold down, tuck in nicely. So now we're going to embellish this. Now this is where I'm going to take some white gel pen, and I'm going to make a big white dot. And then I have a little piece of black gel pen that I'm going to let kind of blow on it. I'm going to let it dry, because then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to grab my Whale of a Time sequins. I love these things. I think they're just lovely. They really came out with some beautiful colors. And I have right here, I have my little pickup, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to lay a couple right here on my white so I can see them. And I am going to use my clear. Let me just move this in. I'm going to use my fine tip glue pen. And it looks like that glue, my white gel is dry. So now, let me see where I put my black. Where did I put my black gel pen? Oh, here it is. So now I'm just going to take my black gel pen and I'm just going to put a little. Just going to put a little. There, I just put a little dot in the middle. You can see how really nice that is. So let's go ahead and take our fine tip glue pen and let's embellish our card. So I like to just go ahead and just put some sparkles. I like to be generous with my sparkles. I like lots of sparkles because I think it just makes it look pretty. So everywhere I've put a little bubble of glue, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start picking. Now these look like shells. These pink ones look like shells. So that's what I'm going to put a shell right there. I'm going to let those be shells. And then I'm just going to put some blue ones here. And I got a blue one I'm going to put over here. I'm just kind of spreading these out. I got a nice dark blue one. Pick that up. I'm going to put it right there. And I'm just picking these up and laying them down. On my card. Kind of spreading the color out so I have color everywhere. I'm going to put another shell right here. There we go. And I like to turn them around so they're kind of facing up like that. And I've got some, oh, this is pretty. That's some green. And I've got some there. Like I said, I'm very generous with these embellishments because I think they really they make this card so easy to make. It's not hard, and I think it's probably one of the easiest suites to pull cards together with. I would really recommend it. You can see how fast it is just to punch out your whale and pull together a card using your DSP. Let me see if I can pick up another one over here. And let me see if I can get any minis. Okay, I'm going to pick this little mini right here because I got a little glue dot right there. Okay, so there they are, and I'm going to kind of turn it. See, I don't see any other glue. But what I want to do, and let me just kind of pick these up and put them back in the little case because I don't want to lose them. They're so pretty, and I'm very happy with the amount that you get with this kit, with this suite. It's really nice. You get a really nice selection of sequins. All right, so what I want to do here is I just want to put some glue as bubbles kind of going to the top. There you go. So you can see I added some bubbles. That's another great use of this fine tip glue, is that it dries clear and it can look like little bubbles. You have to be careful, but you always want to make sure you get that little stick back inside your glue bottle. But there you go. There's your card. It is a WIPER card, and it was easy to make. Here are my other samples. Here's one I made, and I put some ribbon here to make it look like a wave. And then that one is made with acetate, so it has a little whale spout right there. Just a really cute card, easy to make, using the Well Done bundle and the Well Done bundle from the brand new catalog. I hope you've enjoyed my video, and that you will hit like, go to my my blog where I'll be uploading the photos and some more product information here shortly. This is Kat Chancellor from Stamp Art Connection and stampartconnection.com. Be well, stay well, and happy stamping.